That's where the fury is. So now it's game on. Hurricane Irene is going to sweep the East Coast.
Got some pops, guys.
I know what's coming. I just don't know who's going to get it.
Whoa, how bizarre. The storm has made a turn.
She's going to jump right back out over open water. D.C., look out. New York City, look out. This could be the one.
I never thought I'd fly at New York Harbor on a hurricane hunting mission. The door didn't close.
We basically have a hole in the airplane.
Let's go find another storm.
When the most intense storms Mother Nature ever created threaten to wreak havoc, that's when the hurricane hunters go to work.
We are flying into the most intense weather Mother Nature has created.
Be advised, we may experience a little bump.
All right, here we go. Hang on.
Good evening. Upwards of 60 million Americans tonight have reason to pray that just one of those little spaghetti strands on the hurricane model forecasting map somehow takes Hurricane Irene away from us and out to sea.
It's all over the news. Hurricane Irene is going to be this devastating storm. It's going to sweep the East Coast.
If it goes the way so many are fearing and predicting, it could cause damage along the eastern seaboard, including New York City, that we haven't dealt with in decades.
Tomorrow, my crew will be east of probably Jacksonville off the coast is where we'll fly. We're going into a Category 3 hurricane, which is a few hundred miles off the east coast of Florida. It just wiped out the Bahamas. It's going through the Caribbean. It's wreaking havoc. Irene is going to bear down on the East Coast, so it's a player for us, and I'm going to have to fly as well.
I'm always worried. I'm worried every minute that he's in a plane, from the second I know he's taken off to as soon as he texts me that he's landed. And I make him text me every time when he lands, just so I know.
I know she thinks about it and she worries about it, because it's dangerous. It is. It's dangerous. All right, you're flying into a hurricane.
I'm constantly saying a little prayer, you know, just please let him be safe.
It's about 3 hours to get to the storm environment. It's going to be 12 hours before this thing makes landfall on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Our job is to go out there and see how intense is this storm going to be and where the eye is going to make landfall. My crew is Lieutenant Colonel Bobby Harder. He's been flying this mission way longer than I have. Lieutenant Colonel Mark Stevens. He's a great navigator. Lieutenant Colonel Val Hendry. She is the weather officer on board. You got Tom Barnaby, who is a loadmaster, and I'm the aircraft commander. I'm in charge. We're about 122 miles from the southwest entry point. We're going to enter a hurricane storm environment at 10,000 feet to fix the center of the storm. It's going to give these guys a better idea of where the storm is going to make landfall. Is she growing? Is she dying? We're cutting across the Florida Peninsula, looking east, watching the weather diminish from altitude in front of me. That's my flight path. That's where I'm headed. You know, that's where the fury is. A lot of things going through my mind. Where's the storm going? Who's it going to affect? It kind of puts a knot in my stomach. I know what's coming. I just don't know who's going to get it. Everybody on board today lives on the Gulf Coast. It's almost 6 years to the day that Hurricane Katrina made landfall. Now we're looking at Hurricane Irene making landfall up the eastern seaboard somewhere. So this storm is it's pretty big. It's very intense. It's going to create a lot of damage.
Back in Biloxi, Colonel John Talbot has a personal interest in the storm's path.
Tomorrow night's going to be pretty ugly. Make sure you get everything taken care of. I would guess probably by tomorrow midday.
We're getting actually ready to go over to Mom's house.
My mother and younger brother live just north of New York City in Connecticut. Try to give them the inside scoop. It's rare to get a hurricane up there. People in that part of the country generally aren't as prepared as people along the Gulf Coast. I'm a little bit worried of what's going to happen. Yeah, I think about that a lot.
Okay, thank you, John. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
As I'm approaching, I'm always a little nervous on the first flight of every year because I just want to make sure that I remember everything that I have to. We've got all our checklists done. We're going to be making our first run in here in about 20 minutes. The storm environment it's very volatile. If you hit a microburst, it's a huge downward pressure of air that's going to push the aircraft down. If you've got that little bit of nervousness, you're a little scared, I think it keeps you on edge. All right, making a run in. We're turning inbound.
700 miles from home, Cross is about to enter Irene's outer edges.
So straight ahead, you can see we got weather now. We've got some turbulence up ahead there in about 12 miles. I've been flying this mission for 10 years, over 100 penetrations. The big thing with hurricanes is you cannot be complacent. These things are notorious for always having weather at the turn point. And that's Mother Nature's way of talking to us. Crews strapped in, we're ready. The first storm I do every year, I'm a little nervous going out and doing it because you don't hit that intense turbulence for a whole year, so I'm probably a little more on edge.
Pick up some bumps, guys.
Cross and his team have reached the outer bands of the hurricane. But now they must navigate through a minefield of increasingly violent thunderstorms.
There's a lot of things that Mother Nature is throwing at us when we're flying into the hurricane. We have to work together as a crew, figure out what's going on. We've got the two pilots up front who are working their butts off, keeping the aircraft flying. And who helps us ski around that stuff is the navigator. He's given us his best shot of where the worst stuff is if we have to avoid anything.
That's displacing turbulence that's up ahead. So we're going to kind of work around that right now.
Okay. All right, thanks. I'm not the thrill seeker I used to be. I'm just going to tell you right now. I'm in a different phase of my life. Hey, Cooper, point to Daddy. That's right. That's Daddy. I'm married. I have a son who just turned 2. That's Daddy. That's right. As you get older in life, you think about things just a little bit differently. See all the clouds? See, Cooper? All the clouds, when Daddy flies in a hurricane, we're going all through these clouds like this. I view flying a lot differently than I used to. I've always been very conservative as a pilot, but now I'm even more conservative knowing that I have Cooper because it's all about safety at all times, but I have to make sure that I'm going to get home to him because he's counting on me. We're approaching the southwest eyewall right now.
The place with the most intense turbulence, the highest winds, and the most rain is a place that Cross must fly through. The eyewall.
About 60 miles out from the eye.
This is another point in the storm where people say, oh, this isn't that bad. Yeah. Well, hang on, boys, because we're going to go to the bad stuff.
Red getting a little more intense. You can see we've got some magenta in here. This purple, that's some nasty stuff. We're almost there. We're like a couple of minutes out right now. This is where I'm going to get smacked around if I'm complacent. All right, here we go. Here comes the bump. About 10 or 15 seconds, and you think the plane's actually going to come apart. Mother Nature, when she's done playing with you, she's going to slap you around and make you ask yourself, why am I doing this job? All right, here we go.
Here comes the bumps.
160 miles off the coast of the United States, the hurricane hunters have just entered Hurricane Irene's eyewall on their way to the center of the eye. Their mission? To establish the path and strength of Irene.
The eyewall of a hurricane is just a thick wall of thunderstorm. It's nasty. When you push all these thunderstorms together, they're probably going to get a little angry. The hail is pounding the aircraft. It's kind of like we're being sandblasted.
The eyewall storms are so thick, it's like flying through a solid wall of water, which presents another danger. The plane's jet engines could drown. But the WC-130J is equipped with special 6-bladed armored props, so powerful they can churn the wall of water into a finer mist, which the jet intakes can handle.
I can see it start to get a little bit lighter, right? So we punch through. Once I break through, this side of the eyewall actually looks pretty ragged. A lot of cloud build up close in over the top of the cloud cover. So now it's game on. What we're looking for is the dead center of the storm.
The dead center is ground zero to establish Irene's track as well as strength.
Take 10 left.
Lieutenant Colonel Hendry, she's driving the boat. She doesn't have her hands on the controls, but she is now telling me what she needs to pinpoint the center of Hurricane Irene.
Yeah, that's back 10 right. Okay, we're getting the, looks like shift, we're down to 4 knots, 3 knots.
We're getting close.
Winds are picking up on the surface. 2 knots.
When we hit that center, we're going to drop a sign.
1 knot.
About to mark it.
Mark it, release on.
Swap away. Right, there it is. There's the first fix.
They drop the sign. Now we've got this instrument that's going to fall about 2,500 feet per minute down to the surface. About every 10 feet, it's taking a snapshot of what's happening in the environment.
The snapshot will tell them if Irene is weakening, how fast it's moving, and where it's heading.
Man, it looks like a good song.
Whoa, how bizarre.
It's interesting.
The storm has made a turn to the north-northeast. The Outer Banks are still under the gun here.
Hurricane Irene is going to hit the Outer Banks, and she's going to jump right back out over open water. She may intensify. She may hold at a steady state. We don't know. But we know pretty much where it's headed now. It's going to sweep the East Coast. D.C., look out. New York City, look out. This could be the one.
Right now, Air Force hurricane hunters are out there. They are flying the storm and giving us some new information.
Cross and his crew have done their job. They've determined that Irene will hit the coast of North Carolina as a Category 1 hurricane.
It's a wild morning on the Outer Banks, and we're not out of the woods yet.
Their data from the sonde also confirms that the hurricane's eye will go back over the warm water of the Atlantic on a path to New York City. Cross's crew has returned to Keesler Air Force Base, but the job of the hurricane hunters is not done. Irene's path and strength could change in mere hours.
Got the primary crew and aircraft preparing to launch right now. At the same time, we prepared a spare aircraft and crew that will stand at the ready in the event we have any malfunction with the primary. All right, got me careful. All right.
The fresh crew will be led by Lieutenant Colonel Jason May. May is the squadron commander.
I've been a hurricane hunter for almost 12 years, and it's been intense, it's been exciting. I knew it might be my last season. I knew I was getting close to retirement, and this might be my last flight.
Rotate.
What no one realizes is that this flight will make history. After making a brief landfall over North Carolina, Hurricane Irene is now back over open water and is moving northeast.
Heading's good right now.
The big thing about Irene is where it's going to hit on the East Coast and finally make landfall, and how bad is the rain and the wind going to be. And in the fact that it was going to go up the coast and maybe hit New York, and to be part of that, you're excited, the adrenaline's flowing.
But for May, this flight has an even deeper importance.
I knew I was getting close to retirement, and this might be my last flight.
He loves what he does. It has been his dream to fly these storms. My kids, they're proud of what their dad does. So when we told Brent that Jay was thinking of retiring, he said he's gonna retire from the hurricane hunters. Like, he was just like, he can't do that.
Load weather, we're in the neighborhood of 7 minutes away. Wow, countdown begins.
The hurricane hunters are in the storm and are quickly approaching the eyewall.
My family lives up in Massachusetts and up in New Hampshire, Vermont, and hopefully it's not a bad storm when it hits the land for them, but I'll know when we land. I'll give them a call and find out how things are working out for them.
My mom, I talked to her and told her, listen, it's probably going to be in your backyard, 36 hours.
He said it's headed our way, big time.
Hi, Mom. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
We're good. You ready for the storm?
My brother helped them make sure things were, in order.
I got candles right here, and we have a generator.
Power was going to be the big issue up there in her area.
We're good. Should have at least 3 or 4 days of running. Anything else you need?
No, I think we're all set.
I'll see you later.
Be careful.
That looks like an eye formation. That's my guess. It's got a curved appearance like an eye.
We're about to enter the eye. It was a very sloppy eye, not real established, which can be good. That means it might be weakening. And our goal is to basically find that center.
10 left. 10 left is 205. It's never where you think it is. We can come left 10. We're looking good. There it is. There's your wind shift. Mark the fix. Sun's way. Just let us know when we have a good one. We just marked the center.
A couple minutes, we'll have some data.
The first thing we learned immediately was that it's weakening.
It looks like the eye of the hurricane is going to go right up the Hudson at high tide and try to fix it again before it gets over the top of New York so they can know exactly where it's going.
We had one more opportunity to drop one more sensor, pretty much over the Statue of Liberty. This was unique. Dropping a song over New York Harbor has never happened.
I've been doing this 11 years. I never thought I'd fly in New York Harbor on a hurricane hunting mission. So definitely something special. That's probably the Statue of Liberty right there. We're ready to go. Heading good. Stand by. Just be sure on this one. There it is. There's your wind shift. Place the phone at market. Sun's way.
We just dropped the weather instrument and an alarm sounds.
Yeah, stuck over right now. The releases is still in there too.
The trap door that the sign goes out is stuck, and we're losing pressure rapidly.
No, it's out. Now the door didn't close.
We basically have a hole in the airplane.
We're depressurizing.
The trap door that the sign goes out is stuck.
The door didn't close. Yeah, we're losing cabin.
The cabin pressure was at 1,000. Now it's approaching 10,000.
Kick that thing.
Stressed a little bit.
That's close. Oh, that was brutal. Yeah, we got everybody awake in the back now.
We had an emergency, and we took care of the problem.
I think it's pretty cool that we've been able to release a sonde in New York Harbor next to the Statue of Liberty.
We're getting about 50 to 55 at the surface.
We're getting our data back. We've determined that Hurricane Irene is now a tropical storm at 65 miles per hour. Thank God, because if it was a Category 5, New York would have been devastated.
Officially from the National Hurricane Center, the center of Irene moves over New York City. Reports from an Air Force Hurricane Hunter aircraft and Doppler radar indicate that the center moved over New York City around 9 a.m.
All right, coming left. We're going home.
Hey, Mom, it's John. How you doing? I was able to talk to her the day after the storm. Power's still out, huh? Oh, boy. She had no power. She was sitting there, the generator was going, and in the end, it all worked out really well. They were prepared. They were ready to go. All right, Mom, love you too. We'll talk to you soon. So I'm a happy camper.
Irene causes a staggering $7 billion in damage along the eastern U.S. 2.5 million people are evacuated from the storm's path. Four months later, Colonel May takes the WC-130J for one last honorary flight.
Today is Jay's retirement ceremony. And he'll never lay in that plane again. It's a long time flying that airplane.
I never ever considered myself one of the old guys with experience, but I'm one of those old guys now. I had the distinct pleasure and honor of being the squadron commander, and it's time for me to move on.
The whole squadron, you have that sense of family.
I'm hugging you, baby.
You know, and that's truly what it's about.
I'm going to have the opportunity now after today to be with my family more. It's going to be a relief, but yet a new chapter in my life. Without further ado, I would like to present my family with a certificate. We need to spend some time together. Getting ready to hang out with Mickey and the gang, Disney Cruise Line. Pack your bags and set sail on 9 March 2012's Dad's way of thanking you for all your support. While I serve my country, okay? I can look back and I can say I served my country. I am extremely proud of that. I would have done whatever the military asked me to do, but I got the honor of doing this. What an experience. Congratulations. Here we go.